working? Can you hear me? You probably can. Just assume you can, yeah? Hello. Hello. Oh. Oh, thanks, Manis. I love your face. Appreciate, mate. Oh! Give me to... I can't... I don't know how to dab. I don't know how to dab. It's sort of like... can't even fit my dab in... Oh, no dab for you. What is a Benis? No. Oh, how many roadmaps do I need? Actually, that answer that. Venice is like 15 pence. Roadmap to start streaming. Board game of streaming roadmap to stream the roadmap of the roadmap streams. No. Alright, let me just tweet that I'm live. And then we'll get started. I am live probably or something. Star Citizen roadmap stuff and Star you know the board gamer things now live maybe question mark http question / today http/board Gamer UK. Cool. Let's put that there. I love the fact that John Lepage, I think it's John Lepage, has put up the Xi'an word for salt. The best. I love you. Close that. Let's close that. Oh, I need the Twitter up. Cool. That's that's live. Oh, actually, let me see if I can get the Twitter word for salt up quickly. No. Oh, I've lost it. I don't want to overly root around in Twitter because it's not safe. That's salt. Star Citizen. Let's see if I can just search for salt and Star Citizen. And will it appear? No, there's too many other conversations. That's okay, it's fine. It's fine. It was Tavaran or the Xian or the Banu, or it would have been Tavaran or Xian. I don't know. I'll have a look later. Let's bring this up. Hi. Hope everyone was doing well. Me, BoredGamer, I'm not doing well. I am incredibly stressed. I almost had a panic attack earlier today. And I've just ripped my pajama bottoms. Look at this. I won't show my feet because it might get me banned. Look, just ripped them. Terrible. No, it's not a good day. It's not for me anyway. Never mind. I know. Yeah, it's been a bit of a stressful day. It's just me sorting out accountancy stuff for BoredGamer, and I wanted to do some other sort of like sales things on the side as a sole trader potentially, and it just got so complicated in my head, and I got so panicky about doing it wrong that I've now just gone, right. Send all these questions to my accountant, tell them to make everything work and okay, and just tell me what to do. So I'm paying you a load of money each month, over £100 I think now, each month to sort out my accounts and to make sure I'm doing everything right. Just tell me what to do, and I'll do it. Or charge me more money and do it all for me. I think that's the best way I can manage my mania, is by getting someone that is an expert to take it off my hands. One of the reasons I'm looking forward to working with Zin. Now, the other thing that's caused me a bit of stress, but not too much, is that Zin actually was supposed to start working for me starting tomorrow, properly, but she's had to give a month's notice at work. We thought she wasn't going to have to because she, because of the global situation at the moment, not being at work, but she'll have to train someone at her work to do her job, apparently, now, which she's just been told. So we are steps closer to having Zin working with the channel, and she is going to be doing some stuff this month, which is sort of good that 3.10 isn't live yet in that regard, because I want her to do all of the technical and the higher sort of effort videos, so tutorials, ship buyers guides, any of the pretty tours, things like that. So with that in mind, Zin will be working for me a little bit this month. Coming up, August, that's the month we're coming up into. But she's not going to officially be working for me like properly until September now. September 1st. Everything is ready for that now, though. It's been so delayed, but it'll be so much of a relief to actually have her work for the channel. But it's been so stressful over the last few days. Like this morning, and up until maybe about 2 hours ago, I was ready to break down crying. I was like, I can't deal. I don't even know how to approach this because I don't know. I worry about everything going wrong. I worry about being the police smashing in my door and saying, "Oi, lad, you done your taxes wrong," and knocking me out and throwing me into a cell. That's what I worry about. I suppose maybe I shouldn't worry so panically about that. I just want to get everything right. I hate not having stuff resolved. That's the other thing. I just want stuff resolved and to know now and to make sure everything's all right and working. And just when stuff changes, like I've literally just changed to a limited company. It's going to start operating as a limited company tomorrow. I just wish I kept it as a sole trader because it was all working before. It was all simple. It wasn't as tax efficient. I suppose it doesn't protect me in the same way, and I can't get the same sort of public liability and employees liability insurance that I need. And I did need to do it. I did need to become a limited company to employ employees better, more sensibly. Yeah, sorry, you're hearing me stress and rant about things, but today I did want to talk about a variety of different things. Sorry, who is Zin? So Zin is going to be my editor that's going to start working for me. She's actually going to be a channel aide and editor. So she's going to be making my videos and adding production costs to my videos and stuff. Being a camera person, help me plan videos, help me actually organize the videos, look through my scripts, play the game with me, stream with me, edit. She's doing everything that I do, but she'll be specializing in the things that I'm terrible at, like editing, like organization of my community to make videos with me. Because wouldn't it be cool if we could play during the day? Like anyone that wants to play, or lots of people that want to play that are in my org or my Discord or whatever, or want to watch live stream, whatever, can play with us and then have that made into a video. Wouldn't that be good? Yeah? But I'm terrible at organising that sort of thing. But if you'd like to ask a question during the live stream, question in brackets, you can ask about anything you want. But obviously, my specialist subjects are me, to some degree YouTube, Star Citizen, yeah, for the most part. You say fuck tax, Snats. I don't agree. Like, in some ways, I'm a bit of an anarcho-capitalist with some of my sort of views because I'm pretty anti-authoritarian. I'm not going to go too much into politics, and people are going to have any politics that suits them, and I'm fine with that. I literally don't mind what people's politics are. I just don't want them to share them on my YouTube channel, and I'm sorry that I'm sharing mine very lightly. That's why I'm talking more broad strokes. But I'm a huge believer in tax for certain things. I live in the UK, and the public health system and stuff is really important to me, and as are taxes. And you pay taxes. I just don't want the government to get involved. You pay taxes, and it pays for stuff, and it helps everyone out. And taxes are a really good thing. And I want to pay my fair share of taxes. I just want to be comfortable. That is literally it. And at the moment, I'm pretty comfortable. I just want to make sure I'm doing everything right. I don't mind paying more if it doesn't stifle my ability to operate. Yeah? Whatever. I mean, we're coming out of a global crisis, or we're in the middle of a global crisis, I suppose, is actually what it is. I hope we're coming out of it, but I don't know if we are. But I think that people are going to have to step up and realise that some of the world's economies have shrunk quite significantly, and some people can and should have the responsibility to help with that. And what I mean by that is, like, some people are going to have the means to be able to pay more tax and some are not. And I don't mind paying my fair share. I think that's true of everyone, but let's not get too much into that. And just the fuck tax thing is interesting because obviously I don't want to pay. I want to pay as few taxes as I can to make as much money as I can, but at the same time I realise that I do need to pay them. And I think it's important to pay them. And I think that I wish we could choose where our taxes go. That would make me happier. Like, I'd put almost all my taxes into the NHS. And the government support of other businesses in the UK anyway. Chris Roberts talking to us. Talking is what you mean to say, Robert Johnston. At least once a month is a stretch goal. He can't fulfill that goal after the game is made. Wow. Okay, so yeah, so I've ranted on too long. So apologies for me having a bit of a rant. But I was genuinely near breaking point earlier, and now thinking about it, I'm not really sure why. Like, it wasn't even that big a deal. I was just worried about not doing stuff correctly, but now I've dealt with it. Fuck me, my brain hates me sometimes. So, oh, thank you very much, Manus. Manus just gifted 1 billion subs to a load of different people, because you're a monster. That's going to say Trixie Little Hobbits is for a long time. Thanks very much, Jaden Catrall, for subbing as well. But thank you, Mantis. 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 For all the subs you just gifted. Appreciate it. But Robert Johnston, you gave me $100 because he's mad. I do appreciate you. I mean mad in the most positive way. I don't mean to mad shame anyone like myself. So I do want Chris Roberts to be a bit more interactive with us. He was interactive. He's been a bit AFK for a while, and I understand why he's been a bit AFK, because there's a lot going on with the project, and he might not even be the best suited person to tell us about certain areas of the project beyond his original sort of... Because what Chris Roberts does, this is the way I foresee what he does. He is in all the important meetings, and he is quality checking everything to make sure it's up to standard before it goes yes. So he has to sign off on each of the features and things before it goes into each patch, basically, or to say it's finished. So he looks at it and goes, this needs more work. And most of the time, I expect 90% of the stuff that gets to him goes, this needs more work. This needs more work. Change these pixels. Change this. I want it to do more of this. Can it do more of a... or like he's done before, okay? And he's literally requested these pixels be green rather than red, and things like that. Now, a lot of what he does is that sort of making sure it's in line with what he wants. However, the individual breakdown of what teams are doing is probably a bit beyond him, beyond what they're showing him when they show it to him when it's ready, or when they want to get it to the next stage. Do you see what I mean? So people like Brian Chambers, people like Aaron Roberts, people like that, or Todd Pappy, Tony Serovic, the lieutenants of Cloud Imperium, they may be much better suited to sort of convey that information. But yeah, hopefully we'll see him in a pillar talk with 3.10 going live. That's Jaden Cuttrell. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thanks for the host as well, Noob. Hope you're doing well. Tuna Helper, thank you very much for the sub. Why are so many people subbing? I know that a lot of you just got forced to sub. Thank you much for that, Mantis. But I do want to see Chris Roberts more regularly, and I'd like to see him at least once a month, doing a this is how the vision's going sort of thing. I think we deserve that. I understand that the company's much bigger now, but that is not. That's even more of a reason probably to have Chris there going, look, I'm still the same CEO. I'm still the same dude that wants to make this game. It's just got a larger scope. At the moment, it feels a bit like he's not there with us with the project in some regards. And I do want to see him again. I do want to start seeing him more frequently. And I think that's fair enough ask, right? Or alternatively, Chris every so often, even if it's just per talk once every 3 months, but more of the lieutenants talking more often. It's always going to come down to I want more communication from Cloud Imperium to deal with this stuff. So some of the other things I want to talk about today are going to be this lovely Squadron 42 roadmap. We've seen an influx of standalone forum threads that would be better suited as comments and replies in this existing thread. We welcome and encourage you to engage in the discussion. Okay, there's lots of individual threads that they're now merging into this one as a mega thread. That makes sense. But there's basically Squadron 42 update and an update video are not ready yet. So they're making a roadmap for the roadmap, which is ironic. Is it ironic? Silly. But we'll talk about that. CEO needs to do an AMA six times per year. Yeah, I think that's fair enough, Noob. I think having Chris every couple of months, every 2-3 months, 4 to 6 times a year, do a chairman's sit down with the chairman thing. What was it called? Was it Ask the Chairman? 10 with the Chairman, 10 for the Chairman. But him sitting down and literally saying, this is where we've got to now. This is where the sort of like dream is. This is what the goals are. And yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think that's very reasonable to do. Like it's not a big ask. And if Chris Roberts is too busy because he's coding and stuff, which is possible, maybe, then he needs to get someone else to do that coding, and he needs to be a bit more public-facing with some of that stuff. Perfection is difficult in any game, but I'm still loving Star Citizen right now. Certainly not perfect, is it? But they're going for one of the great games of our time. Is the idea when it's just finished. I'm waiting for the Endeavour Discovery, which I hope to buy this for. The Endeavour Discovery? Was that? So, what was there a hull? I know the Hope. Was the Discovery the one? Was there one that was individually called the Discovery? The main hull of the Endeavour can detach, and that can go and explore. The rear section, what a Discovery one would be the telescope, and something else. The data cruncher research bit. Is that right? Thank you very much for having a giant hype train for my channel. That's very much appreciated. Thank you, guys. But yeah, thank you very much for your message, Luck Dragon. You don't need to send me money to ask a question. By the way, you're more than welcome to send a super chat or a donation or highlight your thing, but I will try and come to all questions, or at least a lot of the questions, as I see them. I may be quite far behind in seeing them. The only benefit you get to chucking money at me is it makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. Maybe it makes you feel like you've donated and helped the channel because you have, and I'll see your question immediately and answer it, and feel guilty if it's a lot of money. And smug and guilty, smilty. Hope you're doing fine, Steampunk Devil, sir. You very much appreciate J-Bad Max, Stephen Barley. Hope you're all doing well. Appreciate you joining us. And Deathcore, at DC. The DC calmed me the hell down earlier. Like he's one of my real life friends. He's the partner of Sin, my editor, and he's one of my best friends in the world. And I was broken earlier. I can't. Yeah. And he helped me. So like when I was with Redacted, Saurus, Noobifire, and the artist previously known as Twerk, Salty Mike now, they helped me out hugely. Like I was a absolute wreck a few years ago, and so unbearably unable to manage my bipolar that it was hell. And occasionally I get like that for a few hours. Like, I'm like, this is horrible. I don't know what to do. And it will be over minor things. You'll be over the minor thing, or something that is easily solvable. But at the time, I can't work out how to solve it, and I feel like I've done everything wrong. Right, what have we got? What have we got question-wise? Because I do want to talk about the roadmap, which is... Okay, so it was ill-advised to share. That's what the plan was, because it just looks silly. It looks like they're taking the piss. They're not. They're saying, look, it's going to be a while before we have this roadmap up properly, and we're going to share every stage of with you while that's happening. But that's not what I want. What I want is, yeah, you're going to have the roadmap eventually, cool, and you'll share every step of that. In the meantime, we'll do as part of a weekly roadmap roundup, we'll share with you some details in text of what's going on and what features are being worked on. Or we're going to start to do every fortnight, every 2 weeks, we'll have a additional video looking very briefly, just a couple of minutes, the briefing room that they wanted to do, just saying this is what's happening with Squadron 42, some of the updates we've worked on recently, and this is the sort of like some of the blockers that we currently have, some of the things that we're having to work through, which are a bit difficult, and that we're more worried about. These are things that we need to solve, these are things that whatever, bam. And then a couple of weeks later we get another update and they talk about how they solved those previous issues, or how they're still causing them problem, what the next goals are. And really I want them to share how far delayed from the original Q3 2020 goal for their internal beta, how far away they are from that. Like, is it 2 quarters? Is it 2 years? Stop worrying, thank you, I will. I'll try. Stop funding Star Citizen, they'll just take our money and never release the game. You can stop funding, they're not taking our money, they're taking my money. Or everyone else's. I'm not going to tell people what to do or not to do with their money. I'll still buy ships probably and occasionally subscribe, but you need to do what you think is correct. I think that if Star Citizen hadn't got huge amounts of money previously, it would have released much earlier with a much smaller scale. And then built on upon that, which I actually think building something more akin to something more simple like Elite Dangerous, and then building onto it like they are, was probably a better idea for Star Citizen. But the way they've marketed it and the amount of money they made because of that marketing and how the game looks and stuff, it certainly suited their needs as a business more. It is what it is now, and it's. Squadron 42 uses the same base code. You can't have Squadron 42 without server meshing. That's not true. That's literally not true. It's like saying you can't have Squadron 42 without multiplayer support. There's multiplayer games, and they can be separated into two things. Their code base doesn't have to be entirely identical. The core of it does, but as far as I understand, it doesn't need server meshing. And he did server-side object container streaming. It's possible that the way they're building server meshing, that Squadron 42 will need it, but I don't believe it's essential, and I do believe you can have... the code base is not entirely identical in every respect, as in, like, some of this stuff is effectively modular. Is it not? Maybe I'm wrong. When would you expect to see the Polaris and CT Hercules? CT Hercules, the Q4 2020 patch, end of this year, 3.12. And that's where it's planned at the moment, I believe. It's not showing on the roadmap, but that's where they've suggested it's going to be. The Polaris, they are supposed to be working on it potentially before the ban in merchantment. That's what it sounded like when they talked about it. And they basically said it's got less concept work to do, and they're take that as you want it sort of thing, than the ban in merchantment did. I would expect to probably see the Polaris middle of next year if we're lucky. Why do we need a roadmap for the roadmap for a game that was meant to be nearing completion? That's another good question. I mean, people still want obviously the Squadron 42 stuff, because even if it was Q3 2020 where they were going to have their beta done, yes, the end of this quarter effectively, which is very unlikely. It's extremely unlikely. I'm more likely to win World's Most Handsome Man award. Okay, that's more likely. It still might not have been sort of sold for a while after that. Gone on the shelf, released Squadron 42 because of marketing. Obviously, the global lockdown has caused some problems with Squadron 42 and its development, but probably more its marketing. And what do I mean by that? Well, there have been changes this year. CitizenCon 2020 is cancelled, for example. It's very likely that they wanted to start a marketing campaign, I thought last year, but almost certainly this year, for Squadron 42. And that's going to be difficult if they've not got CitizenCon this year. You see what I mean? Or at least more difficult. There's certainly reasons why certain things are going to be delayed. And there's obviously the expected delays that we have with Star Citizen, where they take a long time to do a lot of the features that we want. Now, whether or not that's happening less in Squadron 42's development, well, I suspect it would be happening a bit less, because it's much more sort of like on Rails experience, and a lot less complicated. But we don't know for sure. We don't know for sure. And it's because they're not sharing enough information about Squadron 42. Today, 3.10 live? Yes or no? Oh, why are you emailing me? Why haven't I turned this off? I close my emails. That's probably a good idea. What was I talking about? 3.10 likely today. So a lot of people were talking about the latest PTU patch 3.10.0s being a release candidate. There are too many issues in my for me at the moment. The 3.10 for me to think it's a release candidate. They need to solve desync. They need to solve ship spawning stuff. There's lots of disconnection problems. Those are the major ones for me. They need to solve before going to live. Otherwise, people are going to have a bad time. Can we expect speed control for ground vehicles? Yes. Engines overheating. Yeah, that's probably one of the major issues as well, thinking about it. I don't notice that as much. For some reason. Yeah, so for live, like, the PTU is open to everyone, okay? So anyone can try the PTU now. If you don't want to download it, then just copy your live build of 3.9 to a PTU folder, bam, and it will just update it. I believe that works fine still. You have access to that. The reason it's not live and shouldn't be live is because it's not ready yet. And I'm fine with that. I'm as long as it's an open PTU and everyone can test it, great. Yeah, that's important to me. But don't release it to live, and if there are major problems. Manta 5x5, thank you very much for the sub. Very much appreciated. 50-player server still, yes. So they could go live with a build for the weekend, but I'm hoping they get those issues solved, whatever. So I think more sensibly, they should be aiming for next week. How much can the rock hold? I think it's 0.8 of an SCU. Which is 800 rock in my boys. Any starter advice for new players? I've had my eye on the game for a while. I'm going to pull the trigger soon. Just get a starter package to start with, $45. You've got your choice of the Aurora MR or the Mustang Alpha. I always go for the Mustang Alpha because I prefer it for doing combat. And I very quickly, rapidly get either a Cutlass Black or a Avenger Titan when I'm doing those, when I'm playing with that. I'm doing a big old tutorial, which will be going live as soon as 3.10 goes out the door. Well, maybe it depends when 3.10 goes live, actually. I should be getting that tutorial finished over the weekend, and Zin will be assisting with that heavily. But you can ask very specific questions if you want, Oliver, and people will try and, hopefully me, will try and help you. Do we have any news on Vulkan? Vulkan and the Gen 12 renderer stuff, which is effectively the same thing for this discussion, is being worked on at the moment. It's expected to be have its first stage of integration this year, so expect to see by 3.12, expect to, but not confirmed, Vulkan and DirectX 11 support both at the same time. Scam Citizen's just ignorant. Programming your ass off. I wish I could do coding stuff. Maybe I don't. I'm very sorry people had to see me dab earlier. You did see me dab. I'm sorry. As a new backer, I feel the game is coming along well and quickly for its size and complexity. That's because you haven't been here since 2012, though. So yes, since maybe 2017, there's been a leaps and bounds comparably to what was done before. So yes, certainly now, over the last few years, or last few quarters, I suppose I should say, we've actually had reasonably good progress. It's not as much as any of us would want, I suppose we could all say, but there has at least been progress, and it's a lot of its core system progress, and it has been adding to the game, and they are starting to deliver with certain things. Is the frustration I'm hearing from others that have waited 10 years already? Yes. It's some of it, yes. Some of it's because Cloud Imperium don't communicate properly, and they pull a feature that they've promised near the just before it's going to be released. It's like salvage is one of these main sort of things that we're waiting for loads. It keeps on just getting almost there, and then it's pulled. If you missed my question, am I allowed to ask it again? Yes, but wait a good amount of time before asking again. Like, preferably 10 minutes. Because I get people that are asking them loads, and I'm about 10 minutes behind in the chat. I cancelled my subscription when 10 for the Chairman ended. See, Robert Johnston, that's a reasonable thing to do. See, I don't know if I'm subscribed at the moment, RSI subscriptions. And I subscribe sometimes and not others. Because I'm very much a vote with my wallet when it comes to subscriptions, because I want there to be more video content. Or sometimes there's an item that I'm like, oh, actually, do want those helmets or something. How many roadmaps are needed for a roadmap to show the roadmap for the roadmap of the roadmap? Okay, so to show a roadmap of a roadmap of a roadmap of a roadmap, you'd need 5 roadmaps. You need the original roadmap as well. But so let's talk about this briefly, actually. So Cloud Imperium have put an update out saying Squadron 42 video, and new series, the briefing room, should be out at some point. Okay, it was supposed to be a low effort series, quite quick, snappy, sort of quite rough. Bam! This is what's happening with Squadron 42. Great. Why has it been delayed so long? Because it wasn't up to what they wanted. They just went, it's a bit shit. So they're looking at it and sorting something out. And then hopefully we'll get a semi-regular series of the briefing room that will give us some updates from the Squadron 42 stuff that we want. We are still getting the Squadron 42 monthly roadmap, so we should see like next week probably. We should see that the newsletter, not the roadmap, newsletter, which gives us quite a lot of stuff that they're working on for Squadron 42, admittedly. But we sort of want a bit more. It's because we've been promised bits, and then those bits haven't arrived. We've been upset. So the Squadron 42 roadmap has been effectively discontinued in its form that's not receiving updates at the moment, which is upsetting because we want to sort of know where the stuff is. And they've said, now, we are going to have a new roadmap for Squadron 42. And it's going to be a little while before we actually have it all done and sorted. We are also building at the same time, with the same style, a new roadmap for the persistent universe. Yeah, so new roadmaps. And CIG have clearly correctly identified that the roadmap is a huge marketing tool for them and what a huge amount of their funding is based on. Yeah? I think a lot of people are aware of that. A lot of people are quite angry because of that. A lot of people really enjoy the roadmaps. I use the roadmaps for a lot of my videos, that sort of stuff, yeah? Big marketing tools for them. And why not make them better, more accurate, have more information and that sort of stuff? Cool. Yeah? That makes sense. But what takes the piss a bit is that we're not getting Squadron 42 updates really other than the monthly report, which is super, super important, admittedly. And Xylo here says people forget about the monthly reports. I think that you don't put enough stock in the monthly reports, is what I would say to CIG. I think if you had more communication about everything and more things like the monthly report, you'd see how important they were. It's just because they don't get talked about much because they're quite a big read. But I'd say that they were core of how my channel expanded, those monthly reports, quite genuinely. But so there's going to be 4 stages of sort of like updates before we have this new roadmap for Squadron 42. They're going to give an explanation of the goals for the new roadmap and what to expect. Yeah? That's the first stage. Then they're going to show us a rough mock-up of the new proposed roadmap, and then they're going to share a work-in-progress version, which is going to be sort of like split down into different teams. So different teams, different features are going to have like much more extensive roadmaps for them that we'll be able to see. That's what it sounds like. And then finally, they're going to transition to the roadmap. So that 4 points is a roadmap to a roadmap. Yeah? And it's just sort of like... It's just a little bit silly. Yeah? I mean, that's what it is. That's what it is, and I'm glad they shared. I'm glad they're telling us what's going on. In the meantime, please give us Squadron 42 updates. I suppose we are getting them with the monthly report, admittedly. And we'll see how meaty this month's monthly report is. But I would like every week or two, I'd like to see some Squadron 42 just forum updates. Beep, 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 beep. Typey, 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 look. Oh, typey, 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 typey. Oh, reply, Squadron 42 update. They are? Perfect. Bum, bum, bum. Enter. Publish. Done. Yeah? Now, obviously, I was being a bit silly there, but you see my point. It was something. Does Vulkan mean it will have better visuals or less resources to run? Sort of both. So, Vulkan is a hardware-neutral graphics API that basically will allow Star Citizen and your PC resources to be a lot more scalable, and then they are going to be focusing on that. It's much better than DirectX 11, for example, and that will allow them to make stuff prettier, and you to have more stuff going on your screen, or for it to be more scalable in the way you need. No question, just take my money. Cidio28, thank you very much. I appreciate the no question, but you're always more than welcome to ask a question, money or not. I love you. Mwah. You beautiful, beautiful man or woman. Or city. You beautiful city. Thank you so much. Oh, wow. That's a lot of money. Why do people send me so much money? Robert Johnston, you're a monster, and I love you. And Cydia028, thank you so much. Oh, wow. The amount is just... I can't believe you just sent something subs at me. I was so stressed earlier. No, I'm not. Or not so much. I'll be stressed again later, I saw. I'll look at stuff and go, oh, it's not resolved, it's not resolved. Remember when nothing happened literally for 2 years? We had 18 months of drought in... Was it 2015, 2016 time? Is that right? So I've got various chat programs. I've got my Discord. I've got I've got a chat program that brings it up from Twitch, YouTube, from the community tab, from Discord, from Twitter, all that sort of jazz. I'm sort of reading from all of them. In terms of delays, how much do you think coronavirus has affected things versus CIG doing the usual? It's obviously affected things, and it's made people work from home. Obviously, Cloud Imperium were very well suited to work from home and work remotely, but I mean, I suspect they've probably lost 2 months of development time, is what I'd estimate it at, I reckon. So yeah, Vulkan is going to be a good client performance, scalability, and performance upgrade. Yes, and they can start optimizing it then for hardware more neutrally and more easily, as far as I'm aware. As a person whose life's changed since backing years ago, generally busier and less gaming time in general, do you think my migration to a filthy casual will still offer a compelling experience? Yes, I think that Star Citizen is going to be very suitable for filthy casuals and grinders alike. Do you think the Talon will be sold only as a standalone, or will it be sold as a game package as well? I mean, they might have some limited time game packages with it. So from what we sort of can summarize and guess of the Talon, it's a Devaran light fighter with a slight stealth element, but it's probably going to be relatively no nonsense, relatively combat-y. Got Devaran shields, block projectiles a bit better. And it's going to have some moderately large guns on it, so like 2 size 4s maybe, something like that. So I'm thinking of more ships in game now. So pretty much all the ships are now available in game to purchase that are flyable, which is absolutely fantastic. They have just removed from the PTU some of that special ship series, the Comet and the Renegade and all that. So like the loadout changes of ships, so you can still purchase the ship and the base ship and the loadout you need to make that, except you can't get the skin. The Rock's coming in 3.10, yeah, and major updates to some of the other ships like the K2 Owl, like the M50. Do you think the Talon will be released when the Rock's released? We don't know. So the thing with the Talon is that we saw a little leaky on it because it went up on the website for 15 minutes, then came immediately down. But it was just a page saying the Asperia Talon strike hard and fade away or something like that. Actually, it was strike hard and fade away. This is the link. I literally was fortunate enough to be online when it happened. I went, oh, what's this? I checked all my accounts to see if I could get access, but I couldn't. Asperia Talon, strike hard and fade away. But we don't know if that's just being built for when 3.10 goes live, for 3.11, for somewhere in between, for later. We don't know. No comment. Masters of Flight series, that's what I was after. The Masters of Flight series were removed from the PTU after being made accessible to purchase. They were then removed to be purchased from in-game. But that's sort of irrelevant to me because you can buy the base version of the ship, the same, and outload it. Give it the same loadout. Talon is supposed to be, from what we can surmise, a slightly stealthy light fighter. Although it's just a straight car. I mean, it could be a fighter bomber. It could be a fighter bomber. Light fighter bomber? When they improve the servers, that alone will improve the game so much. There's a huge amount of server updates coming towards the end of this year. That's what they've said. And server meshing should be ready at some point early-ish next year, the very first early stage of it. But I think people are right to take the piss out of Cloud Imperium for the Squadron 42 roadmap. And I think that's fine. I think that's fine. They need to be able to look at themselves and laugh occasionally as well. Is the answer Chris Roberts? Yeah, it's sometimes the answer. Doesn't seem like they're going to be done with Squadron 42 before they finish the roadmap. That's true. They need to get the roadmap out first, I suppose. It looked to me like they were on course up until at the beginning of this year that they were going to get Squadron 42 out relatively, probably early 2021. And I hope that's still the case. But how do you feel about only having the Rock as a new vehicle and no ship so far in 3.10? That's a good point. I would like more, like stuff in 3.10, more ships. Maybe that Talon will be there. They haven't confirmed the Rock pricing yet. How did the court case work out? So Crytek versus Cloud Imperium. Crytek tried to towards the end. Crytek tried to dismiss their case, saying that their case wasn't ready yet because they hadn't released Squadron 42. And Cloud Imperium went, well, you shouldn't have sued us then. And they settled. But it looked like it probably in quite a favourable position for Cloud Imperium. But we don't know for sure. There's no details of the settlement beyond that they have settled. I suspect they probably both said, we'll pay our own legal fees and be done with it. Robert Johnston, after 3 a.m. here. I'm off to bed. Good night. And keep the feckin' noise down. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us, but also for donating a ridiculous amount of money. You, sir, are a legend. Thank you. Genuinely, thank you. Oh, man. Can't believe I was so stressed earlier. I can believe. I get like that. I even get like that occasionally playing games. Like, I'll be playing Apex Legends and going, what the fuck am I doing? What the fuck am I doing? I'm not learning how to play. I'm going, worse, this is depressing. Things like that. Like, my brain occasionally just hates me. Will you remind CIG to update the keybind graphic in the options page? Yes. They moved keys around a load in this PTU, and it really annoys me. I know there might be more of a sort of method to that madness than that's what it felt like. Now you don't know where your feckin' fingers are. Is the current 3.10 PTU stable enough to go to live? Not in my opinion, no. There are stability issues with servers still. 10k and 30k errors now, because they split them. That's smart. How do you fix 30k errors? Rename them. It's a little bit more than that, but there's also problems with some of the stuff in game, like spawning ships and desync and things like that they need to solve as well, in my opinion, to have a good 3.10 build. And we deserve a 3.10 build that is at least accessible and playable to a high level. Doesn't need to be perfect. Doesn't need to be perfect. Of course it doesn't. It's alpha. Alpha for a reason. How do you feel about ground vehicles at the moment? So, before I look at the rest of your question, at the moment, ground vehicles have very little use in the game. There's no real function for them. They work. You can mess around with them. You can do some cool sandbox stuff with them, but there's no real need to use them. So that's a major sort of like, you don't need to use them, and there's no gameplay mechanics that make you be able to make a load of money by using them, then why would I use them? I feel like there aren't really many situations where you really want to make use of them, and do you think it could be changed? Yeah. So how do you make them more useful and viable? So the quick and easy way, I'd say, either have a mechanic that allows you to make a huge amount of money using a vehicle, yeah, or vehicles, but what I would like to see is missions where, and areas that it's hard to get a ship in, so you have to drive your vehicle there, yeah. The original procedural V2 Planets demo, there was an environmental hazard, which means they had to land their ship, and then you had to drive there. But also have missions where you are defending an outpost or a bunker on a planet from waves of enemies. That makes you much more likely to use ground vehicles, especially if there's lots of enemies coming. You're going to be using those to take out those enemies on foot. You're going to be using them to take out their ships that are coming in. You'd have to have like a spawn point or something, or a vehicle spawn nearby, or whatever, to be able to get those vehicles there. And it need to be balanced properly. But when you're starting to long-term actually hold an area, that's when you're going to start to make much more use of the ground vehicles. Or if there's a mechanic that allows you to make a lot of money from them. Or you have to travel because there's environmental hazards, which mean you can't land your ship. So, all of that, any of that, some of that. I consume a lot of your content, so I feel like I should donate. Haha. Any thoughts on this new lighting? I feel like I'm going to go crazy if I don't see it. Thank you very much, Michael Hoffman. What new lighting are you talking about specifically? Like, I know they're having day-night cycles work a bit better. They're going to have they want to have orbiting planets eventually. I know they've done lighting passes in general, but what specifically about the new lighting? Something about new lighting that I'm not getting? Sort of evaded my brain, new lighting. I'm excited about the cloud tech. I like the improvements they made in general. Is Cloud Imperium working on other star systems beside Pyro? Yes. At least the Odin system as well, the Squadron 42 system. 100%. But are they working on more beyond that? I would expect so. At least assets that will be used in them, or bits of them, or planets for them, or whatever, or architecture for, like, you know, alien cities and things like that as well. Because they don't need to actually work on building the system individually. They work on the assets for them and then put them all in and build them. So, yes, but to what degree and how many, I don't know. Why are they still using 50 players as a benchmark? They want server meshing in, and well, server meshing enables loads of players on the server, but they're building a load of server tech that's going to be done by the end of this year. That's the plan, that will then aid that. Will that server tech that they're putting in by the end of the year, that they plan to put in for the end of the year anyway, and will that help with server limits? Maybe. But the server meshing that they've got planned for early to first half of next year, that's what they originally said anyway, it might change obviously because Star Citizen, that will allow for much larger players, not on a server, but on the same star system. So, and then you seamlessly transfer data, but effectively the same server, but it's technically not the same server. Server meshing allows them to seamlessly transfer data between servers, so that you don't notice that you're moving between servers, is the idea. Hey Board, love to you in from Canada. I have missed this. Do you know if they fixed the turret issue where one is ejected from a ship while in quantum travel? I have not noticed that in the last 2 PTUs. Any idea of when the Ares Inferno will release? So the Ares series of ships, the Inferno and the Ion, they're not too complicated. They are a big gun with a ship attached. They're not huge, and they look like, Cloud Imperium look like they are doing, working on the Hercules C2 still, the Mercury Star Runner, and Crusader, and Horizon, its landing zone. So it seems to me like they're trying to flesh out the pipeline and brand for that. I think you could see that ship Q1, Q2, 2021, if we're lucky. Did someone say something about 60% scam? What was that? Bear with me. Can we all agree that Star Citizen is at least 60% scam? No roadmap updates, no communication, and more ships to buy for barely playable ever. So they haven't been releasing sort of like concept ships constantly. They used to a while ago, they used to do them every 6 weeks or so. They haven't really been doing that. And they've been making more money as well, not doing these like massive ship sales, new concept ships. Admittedly, they have had the Fleet Week and stuff, which has hugely contributed to huge amounts of sales, admittedly. And that's free flight. And there was a huge amount of problems during that. So obviously they're doing something right, even though they've got terrible problems with the accessibility and some of the bugs with that game, for sure. It is very much an alpha, but you've got to also consider that it is supposed to be playable, and can't ignore that. So I can see some of the criticism. There is still communication. There's a huge amount of communication from CIG. It just needs to be a lot more still. There needs to be more transparency. There's a good amount of transparency, but there needs to be more. Because it's the cornerstones of their project. They can't do like half-assed. They can't do some. They can't take it away. The problem is they have good communication for a time, and then it slips a bit. And that's not appropriate. They need more. Star Citizen is 0% scam, but it is slow as development. It is delayed. It is occasionally inefficient. It is erratic. There's a huge amount to criticize Star Citizen on. But it's not a scam. Hey, Bored, Steampunk Hero had a good question. Would you consider doing a Calling All Star Citizen segment where you have community members talking shop on the game with you? Yes, and it would be... totally agree. Sorry, I'm not sure if I haven't come to the question yet or if I've moved past. And obviously, Steampunk Hero and yourself, Michael, like you are donation gods to me, and I love your faces. And so apologies if I did miss it. I'm sorry. Please donate. Yeah. So that would effectively be Salty Mike's Answer the Call. And yes, I will do something slightly different, but it would still be effectively. I'd have to give credit to him for coming up with that idea originally. But yes, I do want to do that. Yes. Talk to some community members. To start off with, I'd probably try and get staff members on, try and get devs on, try and get org leaders on, try and get people like Game Glass or those sort of people that have done stuff with the game, talk to them. Sort of org spotlight is what the spotlight series that I wanted to do sort of like was supposed to be branching out into that. But I was waiting for Zin to help me with it, so I did it properly, but... Question. Gabrielle Boyer. What is the reason we have seen so little of Chris Roberts and Sandy in the last 1 to 2 years, especially compared to previous years? So I think Sandy is off largely doing her own thing at the moment. I think she's a director for the company or on the board of directors. So she's still, or on the chair, whatever you want to call it. So I think she still has input in the company. I think she still helps with the marketing. But they've got a full marketing department now that is very focused on Star Citizen. So I think they've sort of, not retired Sandy, but I think that she is taking a massive back step in the company. So that's probably why you haven't seen her. And that is something that I think is happening rather than 100% can confirm. I think people would be like, yeah, that's fine. If he did the original marketing for Star Citizen, helped make it a huge success, wants to take a back step now, that's sort of fine. As long as they're not paying huge amounts of money, I don't really care. But Chris Roberts, we do need to see more. And he was supposed to be doing the quarterly pillar talks and stuff like that. And because we've had this pillar talk delayed, it's sort of like a little annoying that we haven't seen him for so long. But I would like to see Chris Roberts once a month, preferably. I think that would be useful. But once every quarter at least, he needs to sort of like go, hi, this is what's going on with everything. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's reasonable. That's what I'd sort of like ask for and push for. In a civil manner. I'm not going to say, I demand, because I don't demand. I'd like. And I'm fine with, as I said earlier, I'm fine with getting the lieutenants, as it were, to give lots of updates as well. I just want more communication. I'd like to see Chris occasionally as well, because I originally backed and got into the project largely because of his passion and his vision, and I still believe in that to quite a high degree. However, obviously I don't think Star Citizen's going to be what everyone else believes it's going to be in their heads of individual mechanics. Some of the mechanics you're going to like, some of them you're going to dislike. And the game is not going to live up to all of its hype. It can't. It's impossible. Well, almost impossible. You pardon the almost impossible bullshittery. But I think even if it lives up to 50% of its hype on individual mechanics that I enjoy, then I'm going to be very happy. Greatest game of all time still. May I post my referral code? I only need 5 people for a buggy. Not really. I don't want to incentivize people to post it here. If you find individual people that want a referral code, you can PM them, private them. I prefer you not to post it randomly because that just gives everyone sort of like carte blanche to post. Chris Roberts will probably end up selling CIG. I hope not. I hope not, ever. So we'll see how what they do with their shares and stuff in the future. I mean, maybe in the far future, yeah. If they become a full-on game studio that make lots of games beyond the Squadron 42 series and Star Citizen, then maybe in the future they will. But I talked to Aaron, and he said he's got a magnum opus left in him, and Star Citizen's that. But I think that after Squadron 42 and Star Citizen's done, it sounds to me like Aaron wants to retire potentially, when I last talked to him. Again, not a confirmation, just a sort of like off-the-cuff talk. You can have the entropy conversation if you want. Doesn't really matter anyway. We're all going to die. Oh, why are people sending me lots of money? Stop it. Right. So, Steampunk Devil, you didn't miss my question. I don't think you've gotten to it yet. No worries at all. But appreciate people sending me loads of money to thank you. And yes, I 100% want to do your series. That series, I think it's a great idea. I think I was going to probably make it as part of my Spotlight series, which was originally Org Spotlight, which I haven't done for ages. But I'm planning to do again. In fact, I'm going, Warbot's helping me do the first episode of that, because I'm doing something a bit special in a week or two with them. But I was going to expand it up to a lot more things. But maybe I'll separate it into more of a answer the call type thing that sort of Mike does, similar to that, but not exactly that, because I think he does that very well. I'd want to bring my own sort of like personal touch to whatever I did. I mean, he takes the piss that I steal his ideas anyway, or I've done all the videos anyway, so what's the point? And he's kind of right. I watch so many people's other content, and I will then build videos and content around that sometimes. I'm sort of like, I do a lot of research. Any news on a wipe for 3.10? We don't know if there's going to be a wipe for 3.10 yet. The live build. We don't know. And it's Symbiont. Symbiont? Thank you very much. Thank you for your Star Citizen coverage from Perth, Western Australia. Thank you so much for your lovely donations, sir. Much appreciated. Oh, you legends. Thank you so much. I don't know why people give so kindly, but I appreciate that they do. Will they have an option for the spline automatically to land you like it now when you hold N? I don't like the splines, but if they are permanent, I think that option would help. I agree. I think there should be a tiny auto land fee, and when you go towards your flight corridor, once you're in like the flight corridor area, you should be able to hold N and it just flies you in. Yeah? NPC takeover, AI takeover, fly you in, tiny little fee associated with it. So people can go, you know what? I'll fly myself in, no fee. You know what? Couple of hundred Alpha UEC, just flying, bam. Do you think we will get boats and underwater subs in the future? I think that you might get a little tiny vehicle sub, or something that is amphibious, like a vehicle that's also amphibious. Maybe that sort of makes sense, but underwater gameplay I think is a little bit further out. I mean, we'll see swimming in the not too distant future for sure. But the actual underwater exploration, maybe it's further out. Maybe it's just not as complex as I think. Maybe it's just some points of interest that are just beneath the surface. Probably do that pretty easily, can you? And that's underwater exploration. I'm thinking Subnautica when I think about underwater exploration. Maybe it's not as crazy as I think in the shorter term. How much is the rock going to cost? You've got to have the rock in every game now, don't you? Have you ever done or thought about doing a video on how to create a decent bug report for Star Citizen? Yes, I need to do that. Lots of people have asked for it before. I will do a how to contribute and get the most out of Star Citizen video, with a focus on how to use the issue council most effectively and good practices for posting a bug. I might try and interview Proxus if he's not too busy, seeing he's in charge of like the PTU and a huge amount of the actionables from the issue council, as I'm aware, as far as I'm aware. or at least liaise with him for, if I do a video on this, what do you want included? What do you think's sensible to have included? He might go, no, fuck off, I'm busy. Do you know if the rock will fit into Avenger Titan? I haven't tried. I don't know why I haven't tried. I don't know. I'd have expected it to be slightly too big, but I don't actually know. Does anyone know in chat? I'll test that later today. Bear with me 1 second. I'm just going to go grab a water. Just going to grab a bottle of water. Bear with me. Not an actual bear with me. Rawr! Oh. People really just donate while I'm... Why are you donating when I'm out of the room? So I've got a really bad back at the moment. Actually, it's not really bad, actually. Got a bit of an annoying back at the moment. Persistently annoying. For the last few weeks. Oof. Any idea if 3.10 will hit live this weekend? Sorry if you answered this question already. It's fine. I don't mind answering stuff repeatedly. Thank you very much, Christopher Grant, for the Ron. I appreciate it. Some people have suggested that the latest PTU patch is a release candidate. I think it's not, because I think there's too many problems with the live build. If they went live this weekend, I think it would not be a great idea for them. So I think they were originally trying, and they probably still are trying, for a 3.10 live build this weekend, and if they solve some of those major blockers, great. But there are server disconnect problems, and there's lots of stuff like that that they need to solve. Yeah? And if they haven't solved them, then you're going to have a bad time in the live build. Since playing the original Wing Commander as a kid, I've been devout. I go door to door every weekend and ask people to accept Chris Roberts into their hearts and donations. Thanks, bud. Thanks for the donation. Right, you're such a good investment of becoming a mod. I love you. Good. Thank you. Couldn't the community managers contact yourself and other content creators to find out what the community wanted to hear and stop the silent times? They could, but they've got that information themselves. I mean, they've got Spectrum. They know. They must know how the community are going to react to a lot of this stuff. They don't communicate enough. But yes, I would like the community managers to liaise more with content creators. I think people get annoyed that sometimes content creators are seen as special. I mean, I don't see myself as special. I see myself as a news relay, as it were. But yeah. Thank you so much. You're all monsters. Beautiful donating monsters. After Pyro eventually comes out, how long do you think it will take for CIG to create another system, as generally as tools are created and improved, things will be made faster? Yeah, so when they're building these biomes and these gas giants and all the tech for them, that allows them to then put them in other systems. Now, a lot of the planets might be a bit more unique in their biomes, but a lot of that can actually just be variants of stuff they've already done, coloured variants and all that sort of stuff, and materials variants that much more easily. So there's still a lot to do after the standard system's complete and Pyros come in and stuff, but they can much more rapidly build out a lot of systems. And I think you'll see a reasonably rapid sort of like progression to the Odin system and where the Squadron 42 is at least partly situated. Yeah, you should start to see a lot more systems in the game over the next few years. I'd expect a nice handful of systems in the next 2. Since we did not get some of the things we were promised, last CitizenCon, Crusader, etc., when do you think they'll announce? What do you think they'll announce this year with all the backlog in the roadmaps? It's a good point. So I think what they'll do is that they'll show what's coming in the near future. And like the CitizenCon demo that we're showing here shows some of the quite a lot of what came that he had planned between now and then. For content for the game, and a lot of it's in. Pyro isn't in, but they only showed Pyro very briefly, and those jump points and stuff. A lot of this stuff is actually in. We do want more in-depth missions and stuff like that. Mike is in for. There you go. There you go. Fair point. What do I think they show this year? I think they show near future gameplay and that sort of stuff. But we don't have CitizenCon this year. So it's going to be a bit different. They'll probably have an in-game event, and they'll probably just have some videos showcasing what they've got planned. Might see a lot of stuff more around the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, end of November event. I am in frame, this is true. But what they're going to have instead of CitizenCon this year, because it's been cancelled because of the whole global lockdown stuff, we don't 100% know beyond some form of in-game thing. How does upgrading your ships through the pledge store work? So okay, let me show you very briefly. So when you go to pledge store, go to ship upgrades, and then you basically are able to change your ship. So you got your Mustang Alpha, or your ship, and you can change it for any of the currently available ships that are on sale. Yeah? You'd literally go on, I want it to be a Avenger Titan, and then you pay the difference in the value of the chips. So you add that to cart, purchase it, then it's in your hangar, and then you, I say in your hangar, it'll be in your any of these details. Do I have any? Oh, okay, yeah, I do. So then it's in your Robot Space Industries hangar on the website, and then you go to the upgrade, it should be at the top, and then you can apply the upgrade, and then you choose which ship to apply it to. Bam, then you're done, and it's changed. If you ever melt that ship, you'll get the full value of everything you've put into it, money-wise. You can't reverse an upgrade. Keep on upgrading it. Gold Star Brigade. Appreciated. Glowing Star. Thank you very much, Nils. Love your face. Hey, Star. Thank you very much. Scalability means my Threadripper 2950X, 32 gigs of RAM, and 1080 Ti will finally be utilised better. But it does, though. I mean, it's a pretty meaty system still, but it does. I think that the last time they had 30 threads working pretty well. I've just come to your question, Steampunk Devil. You ever thought about doing a Calling All Devs Star Citizen video type podcast? Yes. I think it's a great idea. What do you think the price of the Talon will be? Between $120 and $160. So, assuming it's a no-nonsense light fighter. The Gladius is around 90. You could pay the alien tax. When do you think we might see the Crusader Ares? I think middle of next year. Seems quite reasonable. If they've got that as a focus. But that said, if they don't have it as a focus, that's going to be ages, because the Taurus is only just starting to get its work on, for example, and I thought that would have been done last year. So I do expect to actually see the Taurus now in 3.11 or 3.12. 3.12 is more likely. Anything on the new gas tech and rework, whatever it's called. So they've been building loads of gas tech. They start showing it. They're showing it off. We don't know when it's going to be fully implemented. Or, sorry, fully implemented is probably the wrong way of saying it. It's going to be utilised for multiple different things, and there's lots of different types of gas tech, for like gas giants, for weather, these are all different types, for nebula and areas of volumetric cloud. And those areas of volumetric cloud are likely to get used pretty soon to make the Stanton system, points of interest, and rest stops and stuff like that look a bit better. Asteroid fields, the Aaron Halo. You think we should implement scientific notation to distances? Instead of saying 1 million kilometers, we should say 1 gigameter. Oh, actually, I quite like that. I like that. So a Reddit post about the carrier module for the Drake Caterpillar mockup. Can't find a lot of detail on the scope by what CIG means by modular. So modularity means that you are able to change the interior of a part of a ship, give it a different function. Basically, that's what it means. So Caterpillar has for like central modules that should be able to be changed out for different purposes, from workshops to armories to beds to whatever. Gives a different function is the idea. And lots of ships are going to have lots of different modularity in the future. We're likely to see the Mercury Star Runner in 3.11, so the next major patch coming at the end of September, but obviously with CIG's release schedule. I'm thinking of buying this today. If I grind some cash for a ship, will that ship get taken away if progress is wiped? If progress is wiped, you lose your AlphaUEC and your AlphaUEC purchases in-game. So if you bought a ship in-game with in-game currency, that might be wiped. We don't know if there's going to be a wipe for 3.10, but there will be wipes in the future, for sure. Bear that in mind when you grind. Do you think they will give ships with wheels, 300i, Mustang, drivable, traditional takeoff and landing in Atmo? No, I don't think we'll see traditional. I think it'll be VTOL. It's just more simple to do. I would like Geo get money to make videos again. I like Geo. Get on fine with him. Good chap. You know when they are going to put clouds more real? Part of the gas cloud tech, they're working on weather system. Probably not too far away. Anyone test the flight model's effect on missiles in a high gravity odds? Not yet, but I don't think the missiles are properly affected by the new flight model yet. Do you think Cloud Imperium will ever fix the mouse inversion when you have an inverted mouse and press F? Seems like an easy fix. I would hope that it's fixed for 3.10, but for the live build. Will all ships be able to utilize all jump points? So originally, the idea was that there was going to be different sizes of jump points that different sizes of ships would be able to fit in, and either it would be dangerous to go in with the wrong size ship, or they just wouldn't be able to go in. Different like size gates, effectively. So we don't know if that's still the plan or not. Hey board, can I advertise my grey market in a donation? I mean, you can. I'm not sure how I'd feel about people doing that, though, or if it should be... I should have a rule saying you can't do that. Or if it's spam or whatever. So bear with me. Please don't do it. I would need to think about that. Feel free to message me your grey market stuff separately. The thing is okay, so I don't want to... The grey market obviously exists. I don't want to necessarily overly promote it because I'm worried about my viewers getting scammed or something going wrong with them using it. Do you see what I mean? Very much so, Cloud Imperium don't support grey market, but they don't outlaw it, as it were. But they can't assist if anything goes wrong with it. Although I do want your money, Zelius, I think maybe advertising your grey market in a donations may be a bad idea. But very appreciate if you asking. That's very, very appreciated. Thank you. Any idea if they are planning on adding meteor showers and storms, like on, say, Yella, coming from an asteroid field? So we've seen in the Squadron 42 sort of demo that they can have those sort of atmospheric fireballs and stuff, and obviously they've got the new Sign Distant Field tech for fireballs coming in from the atmosphere and ships and stuff. So yeah, I think that's a thing that could happen. I like the idea. I think they could be procedurally generated as part of weather or the dynamics like systems for that. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. I think that's a cool idea. I think that's something they've probably already got planned. How epic do you think the story of Squadron 42 will be? So you're slightly on rails, large open areas though. So you're in the military, the Vandal, you're at war with them, and it's your sort of pre-briefing, getting up, moving around, living on the ship, briefing, getting to your ship, doing your mission, getting back to your ship, debriefing, and then sort of talking to the crew, and you're living on the ship. So it's going to be pretty immersive. I'm hoping it's going to be better than Half-Life 2, if that's possible. I'm very excited for it. Do we need more missions and gameplay or greater PU stability for Star Citizen to go mainstream? Both. Has to be stable, the PU, but we also need more gameplay. Do you think people should be focusing on the focus points for testing in 3.10? So, okay, you want people to play the game and play it as intended in the PU to get general test data and to stress test stuff, but you also want people, some of the focus points and the testing focus, that's the more major feedback they want as well. So it's not mutually exclusive, you can have both. Why do none of the cities have road infrastructure? So some of them sort of do, they just don't have proper roads that they're procedure generating yet. You'll potentially have that in the future. Does VoIP work over IP yet? I haven't tested it in 3.10 on the PTU yet. They are building services to get it working, though. I know that, and redundancy for it. Have you heard of any Glaive remakes. So the Glaive and the Scythe, they are getting a major update. They've been majorly updated for Squadron 42, and that will be going into the persistent universe at some point. They look entirely different. They're in the same lines with the Blade now. When do I think we'll get it in the PU, the Glaive and Scythe remake? I would expect to see it in Vandal Swarm first, but I don't know when. They haven't really indicated when. Since 2020 has been a bit of a disappointing for progress, what do you think about it being the year of stabilization? I mean, it's a large year of them working on Squadron 42 and dealing with lockdown. But as I said, I don't think they've lost more than 2 months of development time from that specifically. Thank you very much, Baba Yaga. Cheers to your family and stay safe. It's an interesting name to have for that, but appreciate it. Thank you very much. Oh, you star, thank you. What was I talking about? Yeah, so they just need to progress with the game in general. Like, more stability, great. More progress, great. I want eventually there to be an actual game in my lifetime. So the landing splines for the landing corridors, they appear when you are requesting a landing at Area 18 and at Lawville at Hurston. Okay. If you try and fly too close to the airport without requesting, you'll still get autopiloted and pulled around and all that sort of stuff, and fined and things. Do you miss around the verse? I'm fine with Inside Star Citizen. I think that's fine. I suppose I do miss it to an extent. I liked Ben on it. Ben and Sandy's awkward interactions. You mentioned Org Spotlight. Can you go into a little more detail with that? So I used to do Org Spotlights, which were like a half an hour or so interview with an organisation, talking about what they did in game, who was the correct players for them, what they were looking for. Basically, it's like an org recruitment drive, trying to help players find the right orgs and trying to fight the orgs find the right players, and they're having like a big org database is the idea. And so I used to do that, and I've got videos on my channel still of that, and I'm going to bring that back, but I'm going to expand it to be not just organisations that I spotlight, but also apps and community members and things like that, YouTubers, content creators as well, people, posters, CIG staff, lots of stuff. Any news on the status of ship resource piping systems that properly handle the power, heat, and coolant? They talked about it. I would expect to see some more stuff on it next week in the monthly report. We know that they are working on those systems at the moment as part of physicalized components as well. But beyond that, I don't know. I'm hoping to see it by the end of the year, actually in-game, if it's at all possible. Physicalized components and that would be absolutely immense. You know, if you can transfer mine ore from the rock into a container like you do with FPS mining. So you can use the tractor beam, the tractor sucker hoover on the Greycat rock to pick up your mined gems, and that puts it in its cargo hold, but you can't take them out of there without selling it, I don't think, at the moment. Is there any chance that we would see another system that isn't Stanton or Proro? We will at some point. Yes. Will we see player land claims soon? They've got stuff in place to be able to do them, I think. They obviously need to work on those systems and the laws for them. I mean, we're definitely going to see more systems beyond Stanton and Proro at some point. I suspect the next one we'll see after Proro is Nyx. Mercury Star on a release? Question mark. Should be with 3.11 next major patch, not 3.10, the one that's coming out, but one after.
You're the Go to SC news channel for all my friends and me. Thank you.
Mr. Scooter Jr., thank you very much for the money, and I appreciate that I'm the go-to Star Citizen news channel for you and your friends. Thank you very much. You star. How big does an orc have to be for you to spotlight them? Not just one person, but there's no restriction on how big or small they are, and I will do a range. Typically, there'll be a range of smaller orcs and large orcs and medium orcs. And it could be. I mean, really, I'd like to see that they can operate as an org, and they're not sort of like 100% new and not tested at all. I'd like to see maybe like 20 members or so at least, and I can see that they're, you know, operating as an org and they're not monsters. But it doesn't have to be huge. It can be huge. It doesn't have to be huge, and I will do a range of smaller ones and large ones. It'll be a various types of gameplay mechanic. There'll be some more evil-orientated, lawless ones, some ones that are more into bounty hunting, some ones that are more into mining, all that sort of stuff. Is mining in the asteroid belts fixed in 3.10? No, it is not yet. One of the major blockers, in my opinion. Speculate why ground cover buoyancy? Jungle biome, question mark? So ground cover buoyancy is for seaweed, isn't it? Seaweed and like this, seaside, but yeah, maybe you could have jungle biomes as well, yeah? With it? Rivers and things, maybe? Yeah, so CitizenCon being cancelled this year does mean that there's more time for them to do development rather than demos. That's true. Why does everyone magically think we're going to start to see things faster? It's because that's the likely thing to happen, especially with sort of like star systems and things. Why is next year going to suddenly have all the professions ready? It's not. We didn't say that. People say that it was. Will there be a serious wipe in 3.10? We don't know yet. We don't know if there's going to be an asset wipe or not. Cloud Imperium, where to scan your beautiful head and create an NPC mission giver with your mug. What would you like him to be named? And what kind of missions would you give? I don't know. Maybe I should do like a media. Maybe I should be a media guy that wants to get sort of like... wants you to do missions with certain amounts of ships. So maybe it's like I give achieves. So be in a fight with 8 ships. That's what I... And then be in this area with 22 NPCs. I want pictures and sort of like scenes for PR reasons. Something like that. I don't know. I like the idea of having missions as part of other missions. So, like you can, you know, the call to arms mission. You get rewards for bounty hunting people. Are we on track with the C2? I think so. What else have we got? Any idea if the Taurus will have more SCU cargo than a Max, or roughly the same? I would expect it to have more than the Max. From what we saw of the cargo deck, it looks like it's expanded quite large. So, but it looks like to me, but obviously can't confirm yet because we don't know exactly what's going on with it. Any word on the modularity for the Retaliator? Looking for the cargo mod. We don't know yet. I would expect to start to see modularity properly next year. Do you like the Constellation? It's right. There's too many other ships I don't more like. If I was going to go for Constellation, I'd go for a Carrack instead, sort of thing. When do you think Star Citizen will start working on getting the Argo MPUV cargo to allow to work with the mining ships once 3.12 gets its refineries in place? Question mark. I don't know. I would like to see those little mini ships used and utilised properly. Obviously, they're especially useful for capital ships and large ships, being able to do some runs to stations and things that those larger ships are not going to be able to do, get to the planet side and things like that. Interested to see how they work them in properly to the economy. The character customization seems very limited at the present. Yes, and they are building updated character customization. How much importance do you think Cloud Imperium has to this in the future? A reasonable amount. I mean, they want their faces to look beautiful. They want to have a proper way of sculpting you to look however you want. Me and my org are making a video for our shenanigans. Would that be something that we could that could be shown during a spotlight? Yeah, 100%. That's exactly what I want. I want video from the orgs as well, from spotlights if possible, or to join the org if I've got time. And Zin as well at some point. The character, yes, we talked about the character customization screen, but yes, much better character customization in the future. How did the court case end? I talked about this earlier, but I'll do it one more time. There's some form of settlement between CIG and Crytek, though Crytek did want to dismiss their own case, and Cloud Imperium basically wouldn't let them. I think what probably happened, although I'm not 100% sure because we don't have all the details, is that they probably left themselves to pay each other's own expenses. So they basically went, well, we'll handle our own, you handle your own. Call it there. But it can't be brought back or anything, so it is resolved. What is BoredGamer excited about with 3.10? Sorry, I'm late joining. Almost all the ships being available to purchase in 3.10. That's good. The new flight model and combat changes. Good if they all are working. Those are the main things I'm excited about. What do you think will be more profitable, mining with a rock or with a prospector? With a prospector, especially in the medium term. They need to change the way they do stuff. It's too fiddly to try and get money in the rock at the moment. As for exploration, do you believe players will be able to sell map data of uncharted space? Yeah, or of charted space and new points of interest in asteroids and even asteroid locations there. I think that is still the plan. Could we see a racetrack on a planet for hover and ground vehicles? Yes, you will see that. Did you make any improvements on requesting more info from Cloud Imperium? I've poked them about some stuff. Need to be more specific. Asteroid board, next should be third. It connects Proro and contains Delamar, which has been borrowed from the standard system currently. Yes, indeed it has. Are you into Cyberpunk or Watchdog? So Cyberpunk, yeah. Watch Dogs, I played and didn't like it very much, the original. But I'll probably check out the new Watch Dogs that's coming out because I'm big into multiplayer and co-op games and things. So we'll have a look. Well, I mean, I love GTA 5, so. If people want to contact me about an org spotlight, do it on the Discord, or you can email me at contact@boardgamer.co.uk. Will there be AI on the pull in the full release? And you'll probably see them in the bars, yeah. Alpha UEC and ship purchases that you've made in-game will typically be reset when they do resets. But obviously anything that you've bought with real money, that's different. That doesn't get reset. So bear that in mind. You don't lose those things. But we don't know if there's going to be a reset with 3.10 or not. Any word on the SRV? Nope. But we know that we've got the hand tractor beams planned for 3.12 for the multi-tool. So that's a good indicator. Do you think there's a chance we'll get Tessa Bannister back? We're going to get Tessa Bannister back at some point. That's what they've said, but we don't know when. How can I buy a Carrack? You can buy one in-game in 3.10 at New Deal? Is it New Deal, I think? on Lorville at the space station there. Burgundy or Bordeaux? Depends. Depends on what I'm eating. And it depends on the exact Burgundy or Bordeaux. Do you think Cloud Imperium would decide to release the game with only 5 to 10 systems? Quite possibly. If they're fully fleshed out, they could have it as an on-the-shelf release and then expand out the gameplay area. Board, when do you think Cloud Imperium is going to overhaul the navigation system to enable point-to-point navigation between planets, on planets, etc.? So they are updating the star map, and they are going to be giving us at some point some form of navigation system to better move around the universe, save locational data, share it, stuff like that. I don't know exactly when obviously they've got through some of the major blockers they've got for that with the UI updates. So, have you tried a game called Universe? I have when it was really buggy. Potentially when it was in NDA, so I probably won't be able to talk about that either. I will be checking out Dual Universe and that other one. I can't remember the name of it at the moment. Elite Dangerous as well. There's another one. There's Dual Universe, and then there's another one which is Dual Universe like. Will Star Citizen have any nightclubs? Yes. Like those seen in the Mass Effect series. I mean, it has Wally's already. Ventox, how much do you think the FPS will improve with Vulkan API? It's going to be different for everyone. It is going to be different for everyone. But I do think it will be a marked, scalable performance increase. Do you think we would benefit from a flat map for planets and moons? I think we would benefit at least from a mini-map. Can you explain how distortion weapons work? I had an idea for piracy where ships could use distortion weapons. So the way they're supposed to work, and the way they should work in the future, is that they'll hit your ship. They can deal damage to shields. And then when they hit your hull, they will, I think they get fully absorbed by shields is the thing. So you have to take down the shield fully, even with its distortion weapon or not. And then when you hit the ship, you damage the actual component with distortion damage, which basically disables it once you get it up to a certain level, rather than actually destroying stuff. I believe that's what they're supposed to do. So at the moment, distortion weapons and EMPs don't work properly. You need physicalized components really before they're going to work. Do you know where they are with the ship and pool and what will happen when they lose gravity? So at the moment, the idea behind losing gravity and water in ships is that they will either close immediately or they'll flush the water out. I believe that is the current plan. As an individual or small group, what can you do to help Star Citizen move along? Participate with the Issue Council and reporting bugs and adding to bug reports, and have your say on Spectrum in a constructive manner. So go on Spectrum, give feedback, look at the threads that are specifically for feedback that you know you can give feedback on, and civilly give feedback. And by civilly, I mean in a calm, sensible manner. Say what you like, say what you didn't like, say how it worked, say what you were doing, say whatever. People might question you. People might you might see it as attacking you, but always remain civil, even if other people don't. Yeah, that's the best way of helping. How much notice do you need if we were to invite you to an org event? It depends. The more the better, but then you'll still have to poke me and remind me. I'm notoriously flaky when it comes to certain things like that, either because I'm bipolar or because I'm looking after like my mum or dad or something. What happens when you fall out of the wormhole during warp? We don't know yet. They said that you might be damaged or you might be a long way from your location, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. Why stress? So it was me being stressed personally because I just was earlier. I was sorting out my accounts and Zin working for me, so she's had to do another month's. She's had to do a month's notice at work. We thought she wasn't going to have to because of the global situation, but she still has to, and so that was causing me stress. My accountant and working out how everything's going to operate is causing me stress. It was like I was genuinely ready to fucking implode earlier today. I was break down, cry, and hide under my covers sort of thing. But I talked to my mate DC, and he just went, "Just message everything to your accountant that you're worried about. You pay them how much?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I pay them quite a bit. But they'll do it for you. If you're not doing it right, they'll tell you how you can fix it, or you can pay them to fix it." Okay. Like, you just worry about being efficient enough. Like, I do, but I worry more about me doing stuff wrong. I don't want to do anything wrong. I don't want to make sure I do everything correctly. It's like, well, make sure they're doing it. Just make sure that they're getting you to do it correctly. That's what you need to do. Keep on messaging them. Make sure that they are assuring you pay them enough. Okay. It's just because it's all new. It's like a made BoredGamer a limited company, getting Zin to work for me full time, and it's just getting the accounts all sort of set up for that, and understanding how I got new business accounts and stuff like that. I just want to make sure I don't do anything wrong. I wanted to do another business on the side as well. Like, I wanted to sell some stuff on the stuff, and I couldn't work out how to do that. And do I run it through BoredGamer, or do I run it through another company, or as a sole trader, which I was going to do. But maybe if I do anything else, it should always be through BoredGamer. Is probably what I'm going to do now. The simpler the better, because otherwise my brain sort of goes a bit mad. And fortunately, I'm in the UK, which is much less aggressive compared to like the IRS in America. But I still want to get everything correctly. I don't want to ever be investigated or that sort of thing. I want to make sure that, and if you ever are, then I want to make sure that it's all bam, perfectly done. How much notice do you? Oh, that's what I talked about. I don't really know, but the more the merrier. The more the better. Is it possible to shout out my wife who plays with me? Is it Rouge Citizen or Rogue Citizen or Rogaway? Rogaway Citizen. Rogrugra. Yes, it's possible. What feature do you think will have the biggest effect on us in 2020? The flight model combat changes. That's what will have the biggest impact on you. Biggest impact for me. What I want is Vulcan and iCache stuff. That's the biggest step forward, in my opinion. What is the answer to everything, anything and everything? Also, when Squadron 42 ? We don't know. 42, and we don't know. Is there any more info on current state or progress of server meshing? No, but we should have a lot. We should have some more next week with the roadmap update. Not roadmap update. Monthly report. Typically talk about server meshing a bit there. They've been working on back-end services for it. They've been working on a lot of stuff like that for it. So, do you think we will have actual orbital mechanics and revoked speed limits as space would be? So, okay, I think we're going to have orbiting planets at some point. But I don't think we will be orbiting ourselves. I think once you're in the physics grid of a planet, then you're sort of hovering there. Do you know Mischievous Mike in Star Citizen? He's awesome. I'm not sure if I do. Maybe I do? Rugu. What was it? Rugu Citizen. Rugu. Like the pasta sauce. Will you tell Dirty Darth to play more Star Citizen? Play more Star Citizen, Dirty Darth. Is that what you want? And yes is the answer to the question. Yes, I will. Squadron 42 will be released in 2950. Technically, it's supposed to be 3 or 4 years before. To correct you there. What else have we got? I am going to dash off in a minute because my back hurts. And I want to check my emails. I'm checking my dad. and my mother. Make sure they're doing well, and also want to talk to DC again. Thank you so much if you're still watching, DC. Thanks so much for calming me down earlier. I was really fucking bad. Do you know what else makes me happy? It's this lovely Ridge Wallet. No, let's not do Ridge Wallet sponsorships yet. Lol, lol, lol. Right. Mate, I was raging my mate G out. He does not like Ridge Wallet, but I do. Are there plans to make arcade machines and pool tables usable in game? We sort of think so. They have the ability to, but to what extent and how mechanically playable they'll be, there's a different matter. I'm looking forward to checking out some Elite Dangerous as well. Some Elite Dangerous might make it onto the channel, as some Dual Universe and the other I can't remember the name of might as well. Which would be the first? Which would like first? A bigger server count for players or another system? Oh, I would like them to double the player count before a new system, really. Preferably. But they're not mutually exclusive, we sort of want both. Adding in-law pirate captain named 30k when? Oh no. Oh no. You're amazing. I appreciate that, Real Millions. I mean, I'm not. But I hope that I'm an everyman's amazing. Anyone can obtain my level of amazing pretty easy. How much Star Citizen are you going to play this weekend? I don't know. It depends on... So I want to get my tutorial ready for if 3.10 goes live in the next few days. I need to check out the latest PTU build in a bit more detail. And I need to work out what content I'm going to be doing. And I want to make sure that my business and accounts and everything like that's in order. Because technically, we're a limited company starting tomorrow. So I want to make sure everything's sorted and everything's as sorted as it can be. Check out Scum, but I had a quick look at Scum when it was first sort of available to play. Has it gone a bit better? I know there's sort of like the nutrients and the nom-nom system for it, for eating and drinking and everything is pretty good for the nutrients you need. Where do we find your Discord server? Discord.gg/BoredGamer. Also, typically in the links below all my videos and everything. Do you believe the game could be launched next year if a AAA publisher buys the rights? Okay, in what if land? No, I still think that it needs a couple of years of work. Whereas for Star Citizen, even if it had a publisher now and got infinite cash, it would obviously be a much lesser product than they'd wanted, but they'd build onto it. Squadron 42 very much so would probably already be released in slightly different form if they had a publisher. So, do you think we should start referring to millions of kilometers as gigameters? You said that earlier, and I really love the idea. Or someone said that. I like gigameter. Joining Discord now. I'm not sure why I did you were in a robot voice. Right. Yeah, so they've sort of like separated 30k disconnects and 10k disconnects and given more of a description on the disconnect errors. So that's how they fixed 30ks. They split them into 10 and 30ks. You've got less 30ks. But the 3.10 at the moment on the PTU is still needs some work, in my opinion. So hopefully they won't put it out to live until it's ready, and hopefully it should be in a much better state by next week. So that's my 2 cents on that, or my 2 hours on that. Thank you so much for watching today. Very much appreciated. I'm going to see who else is streaming at the moment on the Twitch. We'll push people over to that. Oh, I need to update the Mercury Star Runners for giveaway because they've given obviously money yesterday, last time I streamed, and today, and it hasn't shown up there. So I'll sort that out. Let me know if you want it or not. What? Send you a whisper. Let me know if you want it or not. Yes. Oh, nice. I might already have access, but yes. Feel free to send that to me if that's cool. And if I don't need it, then I can say I haven't used that. And I'll find out later today. Thank you very much. Very much appreciated, mate. I'm going to host SMB, Super Mac Brothers. I love his face. He does very similar stuff to me. And he's a good chap. So give him some love. Great. This is the boy that we are going to... Feel free to go and join. I'll go join his channel briefly, say hello, and then go get some food and say hello to people. Okay, BoredGamer, a new chat. Mate, the chair is super expensive. And my back does hurt. Maybe I just haven't set it up properly. This is the best chair, mate. It's supposed to be. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Love your faces loads. Thank you very much to Robert Johnston, to Baba Yaga, to Michael Ike, you monster, Mr. Scooter, Christopher Grump, Nils, Shite, oh, you legend Shite, Heartrule, Symbiont, the Steampunk Devil, again, you are a mega monster, Mantis, oh, you beautiful boy, Gabriel Boyer, Michael Ike lots more, Michael Hoffman, Robert Johnson again, City 028, Luck Dragon, Tuna Helper, In Catrol. There's loads of you. There's too many of you. There's not too many of you. I want more. Give me more. But yes, thank you so much for watching today. Very much appreciated. We could have 3.10 live for the weekend, but I think it would be a very bad idea for Cloud Imperium to do so. I think it needs a few more days of triage and bug fixing. And I hope that's what they do. Squadron 42, roadmap. Yeah, cool. I'm glad they told us what's happening with Squadron 42 very roughly, saying that it's not ready for roadmap yet, but we're working on it. That's fine, but give me more in the meantime. Tell me what's going on. So, I love you guys. You take care. Thanks very much for watching. Don't be stressed, and I hope you're doing well. Peace.